Morning, afternoon, or evening. It looks like you are opting to watch a video that comes in more than one part, probably because it was lengthy and we like to keep them kind of short so people don't have to sit too long. So this could be a two-parter, three-parter, or four-parter. I don't know which one you're looking at, but just wanted to let you know if you are on, say, part one and it has a part two, that part originally will come out on a date separate than part one. So just keep a lookout for the same title name where it says part two, part three, or part four, and then you should find your way accordingly. I hope you enjoy and I hope it helps clear up some sort of concept that someone was asking about. I'll see you later. Bye-bye now.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I wanted to talk a little bit about question number 5 on the function report. So this is some more just updated details, things to think about in 2026. It's been a while, I think, since we have, gone through all these questions again. And over the course of time, you hear more interesting things from ALJs and some maybe notes in a DDE, disability determination explanation, that gives rise to think about perhaps some other things to think about when you're doing your question 5 on your function report and a lot of other questions on the function report. So we're going to hit up the function report probably in full or nearly in full, maybe not some of the real innocuous things. But so I think we're going to start on question number 5 because it's a big one that often is drawn back to, whether it's to support an award later on when an ALJ is making a decision, because, hey, what she complained about at hearing, she was complaining about 2 years ago on her function report. And so it just adds a little crumbs to the evidence aside from your medical evidence, which of course is number one important. So a couple things I wanted to touch on. I'm not going to be able to get through all of these, but I'll just do another video because I do want to keep it kind of short if I can. I can keep track of time. When you're doing question number 5, one mistake I see a lot of people do is they only relate it to the job they had that they can't do anymore. So let's say it's someone who did construction. Next thing you know, one second, I got to kick a dog's butt. Back again. Okay, so I see this sometimes with people, not always men, but probably more often men, who had really physical jobs. Construction, it could be heavy construction, it could be heavy machine operating, things like that. But there's a ton of other ones, that would meet this bar also. And when they talk about what they, because the question in number 5 is about how does your conditions affect your ability to work? And they're thinking about work only in this little narrow thing that they used to do, which I'll tell you why it's a mistake very soon. But so they're saying things like, I used to lift 120 pounds and I can't do that anymore, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And on my feet all day long and reaching overhead and, really like a lot of on your feet and heavy lifting type of things. We'd have to carry big logs that probably weighed 80 pounds, 100 pounds, you know, 30 yards, you know. So, and I get why they're doing it because that is what they can't do anymore. So they're like, I can't do my work. But this is really more broadly about work. And all he's done by saying that in that answer is confirm that he can't, in his opinion, can't do heavy work. Okay, well, there's medium, that's like 50 pounds, and there's light work and there's sedentary work. So you've really done nothing to eliminate more jobs. The 12,000 jobs that you are tasked with eliminating. You've only eliminated the very, very heavy ones that most people can't do anyway. Like for me, I could never have done that. So when you think about work, think about all kinds of work, not just the job you did. And that is going to be really hard. I know particularly if you've been at the same job, you've never done a sedentary job. You've always been a, hands-on kind of person. And for this reason is why in the past I've said, and I still do this all the time, look at question number 20 and look at all those tasks there. And think about each one when you write why you can't work. So for instance, let's say your back is really bad, and that's why you can't carry that 100 pounds of heavy machinery or lumber or whatever. Does that back also limit you from carrying 25 pounds all day? Would it mean that you couldn't carry 3 gallons of milk, 3 gallons worth of milk in terms of weight, 6 out of 8 hours in a workday. Could you be carrying that weight with your back? We know your back eliminates carrying 100, but will it also prevent you from all day long carrying something less, like 25? What about that back and being on your feet so much? Does it prevent? And people are less likely to forget about the walking issues, but it's really important because the let's say you can carry 25 pounds, you think just fine all day long, you just can't do the heavier. But let's say you can't walk all day long. Light work, like medium work, akin to medium work and heavier, is on your feet 6 hours out of an 8-hour day. So while maybe you can't boot out light work based on the weight, because 25 pounds is kind of puny for me. I'm big muscles. The being on your feet 6 to 8 hours with a bad back might very well be something you can't do, because when you have a bad back, your arms aren't taking over some of that weight. You're still carrying your whole body. So sometimes you're going to be able to better defeat that whole thousands of jobs in the light range if you can't be on your feet 6 out of 8 hours. So give thought to kind of like an expanded environment when you're thinking about these tasks, not that just that job you had. And looking at number 20 is going to show you what all these tasks that you maybe never had to do for your job. That heavy job the fellow was doing, he never sat. So he never even puts that he can't sit. But it turns out when he's trying to fill out information for the function report, he can sit about 20 minutes and his back is really humming and he's got to move. He's got to get in the recliner. He's got to walk around first. Then he's got to get in the recliner. And an hour and a half later, his back is maybe getting a little back to snuffing him. So you don't think about sitting because you didn't do it for your job, the job you had for 30 years. You need to think about it now. So again, you're going back to work-related functional tasks, but not just the job you had. And that's why number 20 is helpful, because it's going to show you all sorts of tasks that you may not have had to think about when it came to your old job, but now you do. And you can test yourself on these things. I mean, you can see how long you can sit in a regular chair at your kitchen table, for instance, sitting upright, not slouching, not like, you know, and see how long you really do get before you start to feel discomfort. And at what point once you hit a little discomfort, and just pay attention, how does it more quickly vamp up to really kind of significant discomfort in shorter order once it starts? And maybe jot down where each thing happens. Is it 10 minutes? Can you go 4 hours? Maybe you don't have a problem sitting. Maybe you can do that sedentary job. But things to think about. And really, a lot of times your only goal, if you're over 50 and over 55, depending, your only goal is not to prove that you can't do a sit-down job. It's to prove that you can't do the heavier job. But that will often mean proving you can't do a medium job, which is up to 50 pounds. It's not that 100-pound thing. So 20 to 50 pounds is the medium range. And if they try to nail you at 25, which they often do, that means you can do medium work. Maybe not the full range, but many of those jobs. And that could defeat a claim, and it will also boot you out of being able to meet a grid. All of you, everyone over 50, over 60. That mere fact will mean you can't win by the grids, because you're not going to be able to prove that you have an exertional level of light or less. Okay.